So hi all. So here in this video, I am discussing about how to design a recursive reasoning function for a given grammar. Okay, so this is a given grammar and it is a repeated musical question. Okay, so here this is the grammar. E gives E plus T or T, then E gives T star F or F, then F gives bracket open bracket E close bracket or ID. It's an identifier. Okay. So here when we look onto this particular grammar, we can see that it is having left recursion, right? So here we need to remove the left recursion by applying the appropriate rules. Okay. So here after removing the left recursion, we will get a valid grammar. So here we have the grammar that is E gives T E prime and E prime gives plus T E prime or epsilon. Then again for T and T prime. Then for F. So here there are E prime, T prime and F. These are the non-terminals, okay, in this particular grammar. Okay, and we need to define functions for the E prime, T prime and F by using the given this after the given productions. Okay, this is what we have to do. Okay, we have to write the function. First, we can consider the non-terminal E. So how we can write a function for E? So here E gives T E prime, right? So just call the function for E is a non-terminal as well as E prime is also a non-terminal. So for E, since E is a start symbol, we can start with E. Okay, so here E just call the function to T at E prime. Okay, so here this is the code for a function code for E function. So just calling these two functions. Okay. So when I call this particular E, then we have to implement T as well as E prime. Okay. So I'm writing E prime first. So what is this E prime? E prime gives plus D E prime of epsilon. So here are we have to check, we have the pointer, input pointer. Okay, the first symbol is plus or not. We have to check a match or find a match for the first symbol. So that is why I'm checking with the input pointer. That is, if input is equal to plus. Okay, then if there is a match, then you can increment a pointer. Okay, and move the pointer to the next location. Okay, after that, we have to call for the next function, that is t. Okay, again next is a e prime. So here this is a recursive function call. Again it will be called, this function will be calling itself. Okay, once this is completed, we can exit from this particular recursive function by using the else part. Okay, so here for epsilon we can return nothing. We have to do nothing, so we can use a else part. Okay. So next one is a t and t prime and f. We need to define the function for t prime as well as f. Okay. So here this is the grammar, the same grammar. So what is t? T means it is simply these two not terminals written, that is a function called to f as well as a function called to t prime. Okay, now we need to define f as well as t prime. So first we can write what is t prime. So here in the production given here, t prime means star f t prime, right? So first symbol is a star symbol. So the input pointer again will check whether it is a star symbol. If there is a match, then the pointer will be incremented by 1. Okay. Afterwards, then it will call the function f. Again, it will call the function t prime. So here there is a recursive function, that is t prime is calling itself. Okay, it will repeatedly call t prime itself. So once it is completed, then we can come out of this particular function by using the else part of this function, that is return function. So here, if there is nothing, then that is a product. We have a production that is t prime is epsilon also, right? So here when we call the function t prime, if there is if the input is not a star, then we can have the this part of the code, that is this part will be invoked. This we can return nothing. Okay, and that is we can return to the portion where it is called. So here in this case, this if we reach here, we can reach here at this t function where it is called. So this is a function for t prime. Next we need to write a function for f. So here f means f gives open bracket e and closing bracket or id is there. Okay. Here also we need to write the function that is f. First we have to check whether the input is an opening bracket. If so, then we can implement our input pointer. Then call the now terminal function, that is we can call the function e. Next, we can check whether there is a closing bracket. Again, we can, after, if this is true, then we can increment a pointer. Okay. So this production has implemented by using this if. Okay. So next we have the second production for f, that is f gives id for each production. So if there is another production also, for each production code, we have to implement different codes. We have to write else if for inside this particular procedure. Okay. So here in this case we have E as well as ID, right? So E can be implemented in this part and ID can be implemented in this else part. Or simply we can write else also. Okay. So here, if we can check whether this input is ID. So without any bracket, directly we can replace f by ID also. So here, that is f input is equal to ID. That is any identifier. If it is an ID, then we can implement the pointer. Okay. So this is how we can design a grammar that has to be grammar for a recursive descent parser. Okay, so here if we want to write a main function, then the first two lines will be the code call to the start symbol. So here the start symbol is a e, right? So here if we want to write a main, then we can use the function call to the start symbol, and after calling e, it will call t, e prime, everything will be called once this is called, right? Okay, after everything has completed, after all the symbols have passed inside the input symbol, it will return back to the main function, and then your input pointer will be pointing to the dollar symbol. If it is pointing to the dollar symbol, then we can say that the parsing is successful. Okay, so this is how you can design a recursive descent parser for a given graph. Okay, so now we can consider an example that is I plus I, and this input string is ended by using a dollar symbol. Okay, so when you are given a I plus I, you can start with a main function. So here main function, there is a function called to the start symbol E will be called. So here we can call this E. So again, there is a function called to. When we reach E, it is directly calling to P. So we can call P here. Okay. So what is this T do? T is calling the function F. Okay. So we can call the function F here. Okay. So here inside the F, we are checking whether this input is equal to opening bracket. So my input was, what was my input? My input was just I plus I dollar symbol, right? Okay. So I'm checking whether my input is opening bracket. No, then it will go to the else part and we'll check whether it is an identifier. Yes, it is an identifier, right? So here my pointer will be incremented by 1. Okay. So next my pointer will be pointing to the plus symbol. Okay. So next the control will be given back to the place where it is called. That is, it will be given to T function. So then it will implement the T prime function. Okay. So again, sorry, my input string will be okay, T prime. Okay, sorry. It will be I plus I itself. Okay. T prime itself. So my point is pointing to the plus symbol and my function is calling to T prime and we'll check whether it is a star symbol. So it is not a star symbol. So here it won't be execute. These statements won't be executed. It will go to else part. It will return to the place where it is called, that is to the T function. So who has called T? T was called by mm, the function E. Okay, so here we have the function E. Again, the second function is E prime. Again, it will call to E prime. Now we have E prime. It will check whether our input pointer is pointing to plus. So here our input pointer is pointing to plus. Yes, it is. So now I will increment my pointer to the next location. So I'm incrementing to this location. This just now currently it is pointing to I. Okay. So after pointing again, I am calling the function T here. Okay. So now the control is given to T. Now the control is given to T. What is inside the T? Again, T will call F. Okay. So here F means first it will check whether there is a bracket. It is not a bracket, right? It is an identifier. So it will go to the else part. So here whether we will check whether it is an identifier. Yes, it is. So here there is an identifier. Again, we will increment our increment our pointer to the next location. Okay. Now this function will be after completing this function, it will be returned back to the position where it is called. So here again there is a T prime is there. Again, what is T prime? T prime will check whether the input is pointing to the star symbol. It is not, right? So again, it will return to the place, this function will return to the place where it is called. So where it is called, the T function was called by this particular location, right? So again, T function, again there is a E prime is there. So in E prime, we will check whether the input is pointing to plus. No, it is pointing to the dollar symbol, right? So here also it will go to the else part and it will come out of this function. So here the control is given to this particular location. Here the this function ends here. So again, it with this from here the control is given back to the main function. Okay, so it will reach here and it will check whether the input is equal to dollar symbol. Yes, it is equal to the, now there is a match with the dollar symbol. Now we can say that it is I plus I. That is the given string is a string which is according to our given grammar. So here we can say that it is successfully passed. Okay, I hope it is clear. Okay, thank you.